Welcome back to Let's Do Something, where today we're doing some more something. So, as you can see, once again, got the truck behind us. Alright, it started to develop the diesel knock. I guess people call it diesel knock, 7.3. It's pretty common in them. So I've been doing some research on it, and I've came up with, we've already done all the fuel system. It's got new fuel lines, pump, sending units. Everything's new. The only thing I haven't replaced is the injection pump, but all the injectors are done, injection caps, return lines, everything's good. So what we're going to do is check the valve train. We're going to pull the valve covers and we're going to see if there's anything going on in there. Maybe there's, I don't know, a collapsed lifter. Maybe the valves just need adjusted. We're just going to check everything out, and if we don't find anything in there, we're probably going to try to advance the timing a little bit to see if that takes it out. Maybe it's a timing issue, and if that doesn't fix it, we're probably going to end up really taking the motor apart. So I guess no further ado, we're going to get... Alright, so if that's not a very good camera angle, I'm sorry, but that's about the best I can do right now. So first things first, we got to pull our pipe we made, which still we haven't, it's still not completely finished. I'm going to end up adding a mount to go to the old canister mounts here, because the pipe's still having trouble with staying put. But anyways, as you can see, once we get it in there, it's there. The only thing I'll do is probably weld on a, I don't know what you want to call it, just a piece of metal to go over to this bolt hole so it'll hold this in position. So whether we hit bumps on the road or whatever happens, it's not going to come off. Alright, so taking this out, getting it out of the way. We got to take off our intake tube, and then clear out some of these vacuum hoses out of the way, and we're going to pull it off. Alright, so picking up where we left off, I'm going to pull off this here, our intake tube. And I have the power turned way down on this impact gun, just because it rips through stuff way too quick. And I'm not trying to take apart the entire hose clamp. So we got our intake tube off, which it's going to be a good time to throw a coat of paint on that anyways, try and clean it up some. We're going to check our boot, make sure there's no tears in it, just because that's another problem. Pretty common. All right. So we got that. Alright, we're going to pull this vacuum line out of the way. And that clamp quite literally just completely rusted in two. Which makes me think we're going to have trouble getting this line off, because that means it has been here for a very long time. And of course, everyone knows old plastic's very brittle. So when doing stuff like this, be careful. Otherwise, you're going to end up having to go and buy another part. And nobody likes spending more money on parts than necessary. So you can see what I did here is I just put a small cut in the top of the hose, because there's plenty of hose here. Right there went the other part of that clamp. So I just put a small cut in it so I could get it off of that plastic piece. And when I go to put it back on, we're just going to cut it off flush. Alright, so we got that out of the way. We're not taking off the AC lines, because I just put the AC lines on not that long ago. Charged the AC. So we're going to try to do it with the AC line on. If it becomes a problem, we will go ahead and get everything cleaned out. Alright, we're going to pull this vacuum line, which we are going to replace while we're at it. Move over our boost gauge line. Get this over out of the way. Just tuck it up somewhere, get it out of your way. Alright, and now we're going to get to taking out those bolts. Alright, so the valve cover bolts, they have a little keeper on them too. That's something I really like. It helps. I don't know if y'all can see it right there. I'll show you once I get one off. But the bolts are 13 millimeter. And like I said, you can tell I got the gun turned way down here. But that's what I'm talking about, the little keepers that are on these. I've always liked those. Make sure you keep them all somewhere where you're not going to lose any of them. And once again, it's a 13 millimeter deep well, because there are stud bolts here. And make sure that you get all the keepers off, because when you pull off the valve cover, if you don't have them all, they are going to fall on the ground, and then you're going to have a hell of a time searching for them. Tell you what, I got this impact, I bought it used, and I've still had it for probably 7 or 8 months now. And I mean, I'll tell you what, I can see why people like them. I did have to order a battery off of eBay though. All I got was the gun. I got it for 40 bucks at a yard sale. And then, I bought the battery off of eBay. Uh-oh, got fuel line in the way here. That line is a little too long. Definitely. But when I replaced the injectors, I went ahead and did the fuel lines too, so that's all my fault. Oh well, maybe it's another thing we'll fix while we're here. And of course this impact bit is way too long, but I can't find my shorter one, so we're gonna do as much as we can with the impact, and what we can't, we will get with a regular old ratchet. Alright, so I had multiple of these little impact driver attachments that were this long. So just cut one down, welded it together, and made a new one. Yeah, it's not perfectly straight, but it's straight enough to do what we're doing. So let's get back at it. I didn't figure that was anything exciting enough to show on camera, so I didn't. But yeah, just got one of them that was, well, 5 or 6 inches long, cut, 3 inches out of it, and there you have it, new impact driver attachment. And it only worked for one more bolt because we can't get to the rest. So yeah, we're going to be using the ratchet anyway. Now this one's just going to be a booger because of this AC line and then the brake lines. Alright. And the reason I'm doing the driver's side first is, honestly, this is the side I think the sound is coming from. I mean, I ran the truck earlier for, I don't know, 20 minutes trying to track down where it was coming from. And everything points to the driver's side. So, that's why we're here. And from the looks of it, we have a valve cover leak anyways in this back corner. So, it'll give us a chance to replace the valve cover gasket. Which, by the way, there's only a few type of gaskets that you can reuse. And even still, I would tell you to go buy a new one. Just because reusing a gasket, why would you want to do the same job twice, right? And essentially, reusing a gasket, you're going to be back in here doing it again before you know it because of a leak. So it's best just go ahead and replace it with a new one. I mean, I think about everybody can afford, you know, what, 15, 20 bucks. And I'm sure you can get them cheaper than that off the internet. But once again, internet gaskets are cheap for a reason. Cheap to buy, cheaply made. You gotta remember, there's always a markup on everything. And if it's very cheap, there's a reason. Sorry I'm all up in y'all's face right now. I'm sure I'm gonna end up time-lapsing this anyways. Because I know y'all don't care about my ramblings while I'm undoing bolts. I'll tell you this though, none of these bolts are very tight. And that might be why we're leaking. And then we have an intake leak as well. So at some point I'm gonna have to pull the intake too. But if I got a bad lifter, I'm gonna be pulling it all anyway, so I can get to it then. Lifters for this, from what I was looking at, for roller lifters, we're looking at about 130, 140 bucks. But if I'm going to replace the lifters, I'm probably going to end up doing a lot more than that. The more you can do at one time, the better, in my opinion. If you're already there, you might as well go ahead and do it. Now this back one is a booger, man. I'm gonna be all up in y'all's face for a little longer. But this is the last one, then we'll get this cover off. We'll see what we're looking at. See if any of the rockers are loose. Any of them are too tight. Because from the looks of things, someone's been in here before. I can almost guarantee it, just from the way everything's looking. All right, here we go. Once again, this little too long of a fuel line is getting in the way. Alright, valve cover off. Voila! They're all really tight. I'm wondering if that's a bad thing. I'm going to take a look at the rods here, see if any of them are like noticeably bent. There's definitely a lot of sludge on these. There's nothing that I can see right off. I'm probably about to spray oil everywhere y'all want to watch. I'm going to go over here and start the truck. Hopefully we don't spray too much oil out. Alright, we're going to fire it up. The thing I have to hold my phone up there for y'all to see, because I film a lot of this with my phone, doesn't hold it the best, and I'm afraid if I start it with that phone in there, it's going to fall into the motor, and we don't want that. So here we go. Glow plugs. Let's go take a look. off. May have just been a bad O-ring seat. I pushed back down on this and it quit. Another one there. Almost all of them are leaking. Of course, you can see the blow by. That's all diesels have it. But what is worrying me is the fact I'm not seeing oil come out of all the rods. Because there's a hole in the center of the rod. That controls the oil flow. Hey, you see it on that one there. You see the oil coming out of the rod? We're not all pumping oil. As you can see, what's that one missing? That little puffing sounds my vacuum pump. We're going to rev the motor a little bit. We're going to see if we start seeing more oil flow. It looks like we got lifter problems. There you go, you can hear it. You can hear that peck. We're going to go ahead and unplug and tie idle real quick. There's been clutches going out and it's happening to people, but revving the motor, you can still see there are some rockers that are still not getting oil. Alright, I think I may have figured out the problem here. Wipe off the camera. Every time that valve opens, all the smoke comes out. This valve in the back corner back there. We may have nuked it. I mean, we've got it running hot. The valves may need reseated, or we've probably got them too hot and they've warped. So that means we're gonna have to pull the top in. Well, alright, so I got an idea. I can't tell you it's gonna work. But I'm gonna take this can of brake clean because something's obviously stopping the oil from getting through these rods. I'm almost thinking we got some bad lifters, but before we do that, I'm gonna take a can of brake clean, which I know this probably is a stupid idea, but I'd rather try this before I do something else because I'm not wanting to tear the motor down. Alright, the lifters, that ain't getting very good oil flow, I can tell. So I'm just gonna jet some oil into the hole at the top of the rockers. Hopefully it'll go into the rods and blow any debris out that's causing them to be stopped up. Which you can see that just blew directly out. And try to hold it in there. Whatever's in here is definitely very plugged. Alright, that one went, as you could hear it. So that one's clear. We definitely have one that stopped up because I couldn't get the pressure through. And if this can of brake clean isn't enough, we will bring the air compressor over. Right there went that one. Alright, we got two. Let's see if we got luck with any of the others. Alright, that one ain't having it. Alright, there goes that one. Alright, so far all but one, it's blown through. There goes that one. So it looks like there's one with a ridiculous clog. We found another one here. Alright, so there's two clogged. Alright, that one just cleared out. So there's two that are just not having it so far. But mostly we've got them the majority, so that's better than it was. Which I'm trying, because I'm not sure what's causing these to be stopped up. This truck doesn't have a ridiculous amount of mileage on it. I mean, it could be the positioning of the rod. But who knows? Alright, we're going to go back to the first clogged one. See if the brake clean's done its job and hopefully broke down whatever's plugging it up. Uh-oh. Sounds like it might be doing work here. I heard it start to blow through. It's starting to make noise, so it's flowing. Just not very good. So we're going to keep working at it until we can get whatever it is out of there. Alright, so we got that one to where it's actually flowing a little. So we're going to keep going. I mean, I'm sure y'all can hear the way it's blowing through these other ones. See what I'm saying? Like that one just blew back out. So I mean, it's holding pressure, and I'm starting to believe that might be a collapsed lifter. That one's starting. Alright, so they're all starting to go. We're going to wait and see if it pops like that other one did and blows it back out. Nope, that one didn't. Let's go to this one. So far, they're starting to break loose. We're starting to get a little bit of fluid through them. And that's the big part, because this brake clean will break down whatever is clogging that in there. That last one's not having it whatsoever. Alright. But we're getting somewhere at the very least. We're going to let that soak. We're not going to put the valve cover back on just yet. We're going to leave the brake clean in there. And maybe it can break loose, whatever it is. To get the other side off, there's a lot more we have to do. We have to take the fuel filter off, mount and all to get it out of the way. And we have to take the glow plug controller off. And then there's a couple ground wires. We got to take the oil dipstick tube off because the plate that holds it in place is over there. So there's a lot that has to happen in order to get the passenger side valve cover off. But we are going to end up checking that one too. But from the way things are looking right now, we are going to end up disassembling this. And we're going to really be getting our hands dirty. Which, that's great news for y'all. Because that means more videos. But it's going to be a whole lot of work for me. I do know before I put this valve cover back on, though, I'm going to clean it up and probably put a coat of paint on it. But got to get gaskets. It's definitely turning into a job, so there's quite a bit that's going to have to be done. Quite a few parts are going to have to be ordered before we can even attempt to get going on this to track down what is causing all of our problems. I mean, if it's lifters, we're going to have to pull the intake and everything off. We're going to have to probably pull the heads. From the looks of it, I don't believe I can get the lifters out through the head. That is a very small opening. So the heads are going to have to come off so we can get to the lifters. I do know I'm probably going to end up putting roller lifters in it, because there's really not that big of a price difference if it doesn't have rollers already. If it does, we're still going to replace them. And we're probably going to lap that valves in the head, which all that means is we're going to redo valve seats. We're going to figure out what the issue is, and we're going to fix it. So, thank you all for watching. We'll be back with another video soon. And remember, this is Let's Do Something, where we do a little bit of something all the time. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. And we'll have more for you before you know it. See you on the next one.